On the eve of another election, Berlin asks, will this one count? And if it does, what does it mean? Meghan and Konrad pick through the coalition options, take a spin on the Wahl-O-Mat, and explain why this time nothing can possibly go wrong. Cheers for the volunteers.
Hello everybody, it's Megan's Megacan time. I'm Megan, I'm here with Ex-Berliner Magazine. I'm in Berlin, and I'm with Konrad Werner. Hello, Konrad.
Hello.
I'm trying to maybe sing it a little bit. I don't know, I feel like I've got my patter down now. But
yeah,
it's nice to
mix it up a bit.
Yeah.
Hello.
How's your week been? Hello. Maybe we should be more like radio.
Hello. Yeah, well, one day.
One day.
Get more professional. Yeah. Anyway, so...
How was your week?
Oh, yeah, lovely. Yeah, not bad.
Let's have some booze. I really want booze. I can see you looking at... And what we're looking at is usually I've got like the mega cans beside me. But due to our amazing listener, whose name I'm going to remember in a second.
Okay.
Can you remember his name?
Yes.
What is it?
Jan.
I'm so sorry, Jan. I'm overwhelmed. Honestly, every day I think about this amazing package of gifts that you sent.
Yeah.
Including some Japanese mega cans, which I can't wait to try in the next couple of weeks. But also a little like cat cool bag, the perfect size for cans.
Yeah.
So instead of just having the cans beside my chair, we've got them in a little cat bag.
Yeah.
It's the perfect size for 2 or 3 mega cans.
Yeah, it's a sort of pink bag with a cat's face on the front.
Yeah, and ears.
Yeah.
And we are going to call her Neko.
Neko.
Yeah, I'm probably going to forget and call her Nico. But Nico's quite a cool name anyway. And Neko is apparently Japanese for cat.
Yeah.
According to Google. There wasn't that much selection, weirdly, in your... But we're just going old school. Issues. The OG Mega, JD and Coke.
Okay, good. That sounds perfect.
Right.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know what happened. Maybe they had a truck fell over.
Supply chain issues everywhere, aren't there?
There was a crash. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, lovely. Let the weekend begin.
Let the weekend begin. Yeah, obviously terrible news this week. Before we even get started in Germany, we should mention, though I don't really have anything to say about the earthquake other than it's fucking awful, and thinking a lot about people who've been affected, and also about how many Syrian and Turkish people, like for Berlin, like that's a large part of our population, and it must be, there's that kind of connection.
There are places you can donate.
Yes.
I believe.
Flawed some cakes in school today.
Did you?
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah. Trying to, I don't know, make you feel like you're doing something. Oh, a friend of ours is collecting stuff.
I don't know. Have a look.
The Instagram post. Sorry, this is real professional podcasting here, guys. So today, but also tomorrow in Neukölln.
Osserstrasse 21A.
Yes, there we go.
Between 12 and 7 p.m.
Yeah, if you go onto the Crazy Bastard Sauce Instagram, I think they've got a thing up there.
Collection of useful items.
Yes, it's all on there. And they're good folks, and you should,
clothing,
if you would like
and
to.
Sleeping bags and things.
But do check before you bring stuff, because there's a few like caveats about what they need and what they can and cannot take. And also, I think you just throw money, not literally throw money.
No.
But yeah, if you don't have any stuff.
Okay. So this is going to be our election special episode.
It is.
Election preview.
Let's go to Germany.
So if you're listening on Monday, you already know who won. Whereas we are on Friday still.
We are. So we don't.
So we don't know who won. But what we do know, or what I know, is who I should be voting for according to the Wahl-O-Mat.
Oh, okay. So this is, to be clear, the only thing that's being voted on Sunday, and this is just in Berlin, is the Bezirksversammlung, so the local council, the state election. Yeah. They are going to have to redo the Bundestag one.
Yeah, but not today.
Not
this
on
weekend.
Sunday.
No, because the Constitutional Court has got to decide about that.
I see.
That's a complicated discussion. We can get into that. But yeah, so there are two elections happening on Sunday, and they are repeat elections from the botched election of September 2021.
Yeah.
And these two elections was thanks to a court decision in November, which said that the botchings were so bad that they would have to repeat the entire election. This has never happened before in the history of Germany. And so it's...
Embarrassing. It had to be Berlin, didn't it? Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And the mitigating circumstances were, that there were 4 elections going on at the same time. There was the federal election too, and also the referendum for DW Enteignen.
The expropriation movement.
Yeah, so there were no legal challenges to that result because it was won by 58%.
Not that we're seeing any fucking movement on that. Brilliant, thank you.
So that's why the referendum...
Landslide, but let's ignore it. Yeah.
So that's why the referendum doesn't have to be repeated.
Okay.
And the federal election... So what happened is that the Bundestag is the only body that can decide whether the federal election has to be repeated, even if it's only in a region. And the Bundestag decided sometime last year that it would have to be repeated, but only in 431 voting stations out of the 2,200 something.
I see.
That voting stations that there are in Berlin. In 431 of them, that it will have to be repeated. But then there was a challenge in a court against a constitutional court, which from various MPs who were like unhappy because either they were going to lose the vote or because they won last time and they don't want to lose it again. I mean, there was like various legal challenges. And that hasn't been faced yet, so we don't know. And some of them are saying they want if they don't understand, why does the whole of the state election have to be repeated? Why is there not the whole of the federal election in Berlin have to be repeated? And why only these 431 voting stations? It doesn't really make much sense, to be fair. But anyway, the Constitutional Court is deciding about that, but it'll take a few months for that to happen. In the meantime, this election definitely will happen, the state election and the municipal elections.
Yes.
But they also have this sort of Damocles hanging over them because the Constitutional Court said that it basically just dismissed the emergency appeal, but it said that we still want to make a decision. We still want a bit more thinking time, and they're going to think about it for another month or so. So the election is going to take place, but in a month or so, they could still theoretically decide that this election that's happening on Sunday will be null and void as well, which would be funny, which would be really funny.
Wow, gosh, we could just make a whole podcast out of this. This is ridiculous.
But that probably won't happen. That's there's an outside chance that could happen, but it's people are not expecting that. The people are expecting this election to be valid, and everyone is kind of hoping that this election will be valid because
we've all had enough and we're sick of it.
Then we've had 2 invalid elections, and it's who's supposed to be in charge of the state? It's a bit chaotic. It's already chaotic enough, and then if they annul another election,
we don't need any more chaos.
We don't need any more chaos.
Loaded into Berlin at the moment.
So anyway, but
teetering on the edge.
On a political level, this is going to be very exciting. It looks like Franziska Giffey may lose her job. That's the mayor of Berlin.
Whoop. Sorry, I don't really have very much
But
time
do you know
for her.
who is leading in the polls?
Yes, I do, but I don't want to talk about it.
So
it's a CDU, motherfuckers, and I am not pleased.
Their candidate Kai Wegner is currently the leading in the polls to become mayor. And by quite a lot, they've done a really a successful election campaign. And they're now on 25% against the SPD's 21%. And the Greens are slipping even further behind to 17%. This is a ZDF poll from about 2 to 3 days ago. The Linke on 11%, AfD on 10%, and the FDP on 6%. And that could be decisive. The FDP's result could be decisive because if they drop below 5%, they're on 6 now. If they lose too many votes, then that means that all the other parties that do get in get a bigger share, right? That makes sense. So there's only so because you have 140 seats or something, and if there's and they will be shared amongst 5 parties instead of 6 parties. So and that would be really good for the CDU because that means they will get a bigger vote share and have better chance of possibly creating a 2-way coalition with the SPD.
So am I not hoping desperately that the FDP does relatively well in this election? Why do you play me like this, Germany? I don't get it. I'm just trying.
Well,
I'm just trying my best.
well, you think it's traumatic for you. Spare a thought for the Chaya brothers.
Oh, wow.
Do you
Chaya
wanna-
spelled like the seeds?
No, that would be good. No, it's spelled CZAJA.
Okay.
Mario and Sebastian.
Okay.
Mario is the General Secretary of the Federal CDU,
Right.
whereas Sebastian, he's the younger brother, he's only 39, he is the leader of the FDP in Berlin.
Oh, wow. It's our Kennedys, but not... I'm trying to think of any other political...
It's
I
like
don't
a
know,
crap version of the Kennedy. But anyway, it's a local
everything we do.
right-wing version of the Kennedy. Anyway, so Mario did a tweet.
So Mario, is he CDU? Or?
He's the CDU one.
Okay.
yeah.
He did a tweet.
He did a tweet
I'm amazed he could.
on Tuesday, and which said, "A vote for the FDP is a vote for a chaotic Weitersor continuation." So he was telling.
I'm sorry. Someone in the CDU said this. The CDU. Do you want to finish this anecdote and then I will?
It's good.
Once I start, I will not stop. I will not stop.
Okay, well, I was just so he was basically tweeting
Assholes.
people
I fucking hate them. Oh, God.
not to vote for his little brother's party. That's what happened, and then they had to
Well,
do
it's
like
going to be awkward at their house at
at the
Easter
China
time,
house, yeah.
isn't it?
Well, apparently they already fell out once before. Apparently they used to be both in the CDU, and then they fell out, and Sebastian left and joined the FDP. So
God,
there you
he's
go.
going to write a memoir called like Übrig. And then we'll all have to... I accidentally read that Prince Harry's memoir, did I tell you?
Wait, what do you mean you accidentally did it? You
I
just
didn't mean to, and then someone literally WhatsApped me. We were talking about it, and I was like,
It just appeared, and
It
then you
WhatsApped
actually
me
read
the
it all.
PDF, and I was like,
Okay. And then you just read
this
it.
is so compellingly awful. I can't stop. Okay, sorry, Marius and Sebastian. I'm sorry you're having... It must be tough because I'm also not someone... Mind you, it's FDP and CDU. Like, they're not ideologically that different,
No.
I don't think, aren't they? So I think it's fine. But I do think it's difficult when you must be very split. You know, when politics comes between your family, and it's all very well saying, well...
Well, they kind of are natural coalition partners. That's the
Yeah.
weird thing. Like they do
They could be
coalitions together.
pals. We pals.
So
But he's obviously looking at the numbers, like we're looking at the numbers, and being
Yeah,
we need to keep those lads out.
and the CDU is hoping that if the FDP don't get into parliament, then they could do a two-way coalition with the SPD, because they're both the two centrist parties, right? So that's their best chance of getting the mayor, of getting the mayor's position. Because the other option, so as things stand in the polls, there are only three coalitions that have a majority.
It is fun, the coalition dance, isn't it? Let's get our Kenyan flags out. What are the colours of Jamaica? Can I remember? No, I can't.
Exactly. And
Are
that's,
two big parties kind of the same colour? Yes, they are. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
so you're right. The Kenya coalition currently has the biggest majority. What's the Kenyan flag?
I literally went over this with students the other day. Black, green, red.
Yes.
Yes.
And so that would
be, but that's red SPD, not red Die Linke.
No, yes. Yeah, so that was CDU, Greens and SPD would have a majority in the parliament. And so would the Greens, the SPD and the Linke still, which is what the coalition that we have now.
Rot, Rot, Grün.
Yeah, or Rot, Grün, Rot, depends. Or Grün, Rot, Rot. It depends
Kill me now.
It depends who's ever first. But there are no flags that are just, that are two different shades of red and green. That's just that. It's not a
Also, to
flag.
the best of my knowledge, it's the same shade of red. Sometimes they have pink, but apparently pink, to say red, green, pink would be undignified. I don't know.
Or light. Sometimes it's lilac. I think it looks a bit lilac.
Yeah, we could have, let's branch out.
But it's not any country in the world has got a lilac flag. Anyway, it doesn't
But
matter.
then we have the ample, so it's not the traffic light. It's not just flags.
Yeah.
And I'm also not sure that the only thing that is like black and red and green is the flag of Kenya. Like, I don't think that's got a monopoly on it.
No, I don't know why they chose that as
They're
Kenya.
mental. This is all mental. Right. CDU, I just want to say, the Wahlplakate, so the placards, are like a real thing. I know they're a thing everywhere, but they seem to be like even more of a thing in Germany for some reason. They're like a real... I don't think anyone talks about them so much in other places. I mean, maybe they do in Northern Ireland. They're sort of trying to, And you can tell kind of what district you're in by which ones. The CDU are running just the most cynical, bad faith campaign. And I know that they've not been in power in Berlin for a while, but things I've seen, like something like 25% less parking space or something, not with the CDU. I'm like, what? What even is that?
Yeah, the CDU are basically the car party. If you like cars, then you vote for CDU.
But it's just like... But then they'll also say things like, Berlin, you need cheaper rent. Vote CDU. Are you fucking kidding me? We are all literally paying higher rent because you and someone else in the FDP went to get the rent cap overturned at the fucking Constitutional Court.
Yeah.
With no fucking mandate to do that, you little shits. Which is fine. If you want to protect the immobilien, the property things, fine. Because they're fucking funding you 80%. Fine. But don't come to me in election time and tell me that you're going to give me cheaper rent. How dare you? It's the lies. I just hate being lied to.
I know.
Just stand there in the suit and tell me that you don't fucking care about my rent. That's fine.
Yeah.
Because everyone owns a car and owns their own home. Fine.
Yeah. It's also, I totally agree. I totally agree. It is really annoying.
That really boiled my blood.
I totally...
Get my marker out. I was going to graffiti it.
So this is... Well, the Divi Enteignen, the campaign, they've put out this graphic explaining which party to vote for if that is your most important issue, is want to see that the Enteignen referendum be implemented, which that's what they're supposed to do because it's been voted for now. And
yes, people have spoken, and we all love fucking shiting on about democracy, don't we?
Yeah. So they just said, they said basically vote Linke.
Yeah.
Because they're the only party where all of the current representatives in the parliament declared in favour of Enteignen, and then for the Greens it's like 2/3 of them, and for the SPD it's like half of them, and the rest you forget about it.
But then we did have our guest Nathaniel on a few weeks ago, writer of Revolutionary Tours, which you should buy. And he was like, but election promises are one thing, and then his kind of criticism of the Die Linke is they get in and they just don't really deliver. But I also think it's better to have more people in there that are at least standing. No, actually, I don't really understand it when people spoil their ballot. I do think it is that thing of it's kind of like a bus. Just get on the one that's going to take you closest to your destination. And then when you get off that bus stop, you can think about the next election and what parties you want to see.
Yeah, I like that metaphor, yeah.
That's not mine. That's stolen from the internet.
Okay.
Around election time. Because I think people are like, it's not the right... You're not marrying this person. You're not having to get into bed with any of them.
Would you like to hear my Wahl-O-Mat results?
I'm going to... Jesus Christ, I think I'm already drunk. This is delicious.
So just before you came, I did the Wahl-O-Mat, which is a multiple choice test on the internet to see which party agrees most with your opinions. So they ask you 38 questions, and then you have to say agree, disagree, or neutral. And then at the end, you have to rate each question to say which issues are most important to you. Yeah,
it's a great thing, actually, because I think it forces people to actually engage in a very easy way with policy rather than just going, which I tend to do, with fields. That's not actually true. I do read manifestos.
Well, that's good. Well, the questions are things like... Well, one of the questions was the rental scooters. Should they be forced to be placed in specific areas? For example, that's one thing.
It's my understanding that is kind of what it's supposed to be anyway. It's not.
No, they're not. You can put them anywhere, but it used to be that the companies would rent space. Like those bikes used to have rented racks.
Yeah.
And then you could only leave the bike at one of those racks.
I don't think that's our biggest problem. But
yeah, and then you can like go through it and then you can say, okay,
Yeah.
I think they should be there, but it's not like one of my biggest issues. But anyway, so what do you think my top 3 were?
So can you give me a clue? Are we talking major or minor?
They're all, the first 2 are minor parties and the third one's a major party.
So third one, I would say Die Linke.
Yes.
Yeah, and then top 2. Honestly, there seems to be a new party every 2 seconds. Is like Klimaliste up there?
Yeah, Klimaliste was number 1.
Nice.
Our survey said 90.4% agreement with Klimaliste.
I have spent some time hanging out with their manifesto, and it's really detailed, and they really have plans, and it would be really great if they got in, I think.
So then number 2, what do you think my number 2 was? You'll never get it because it didn't even ask any questions about
I
this.
know.
But
It's the party that is really into that kind of preserving life beyond like 100 years old. Their posters are everywhere and they're mad.
I don't know. No, the cryogenically freezing yourself.
Yes, they
party.
have this election video which looks some of my students are doing a project at the moment where they have to, because one of the things they have to do in English Abitur is take German texts and summarize them in English.
Okay.
So they're doing that for political parties. They got to choose a party and they're going to present it. And it's kind of exciting because some of them are voting for actually not for the first time because it's the same ones again, but they're new to voting and they get into it and it's cool. And they showed me this and were like, please come and watch this video. And they've got this video, I can't remember, what are they called, like for Jugend, like youth research or something. Literally it's like filmed on someone's phone and it's like people in wigs. It looks like what my students do when they have to do a modern version of Macbeth. And it's like voting can be deadly, which I think is like if you don't vote for the prolonging your life parties, then you're voting for the parties of death. So people go into the booths and vote, and then the Grim Reaper comes out and catches them.
That's great. I want to figure out.
Is that your number 2?
No. I
Okay,
which part? I wonder which part that
I
is.
got 2 out of 3.
I'm clicking through all the parties now to figure out which one I could be. Which one that could be, though, the anti-death party. Anyway, no,
really
you'll
long
never.
name.
It's the Tierschutzpartei was my number 2.
Tierschutz. I might have guessed that actually.
But none of the questions are about animals. I don't know why I got that.
Well, I think
but,
that so Tierschutz is the animal protection people, but I think they'll also have other, like, that's not just the only platform that they're running on. So
No. It didn't come up in any of the questions was like, what do you think of animals? I mean, obviously I'm in favour of animals, but couldn't say. I was quite disappointed that I didn't get the Urbana Hip Hop Partei. They were my number 6.
They were sort of coming onto my radar now.
But the last
and I don't know
election,
if they're quite cool. There's so many little parties, which I think is good. Like, it's obviously a sign of like a healthy
I think
democracy.
it's really good.
And then I'm also like, but are we ever going to wrangle power from the neoliberals?
Anyway, so those are my. Do you want to hear my bottom 3?
Oh, let's see if I can guess your bottom 3. I know what your 4th to last was.
Oh yeah,
CDU.
Yeah.
Now, bottom 3, would they be major or minor?
the bottom one was a major party.
AfD. I'm really fucking hoping.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, my
That's
least.
good. That's good. I don't have to leave your house. Clutching the rest of my mega can and storming out. Other 2,
I mean, I don't even know if you've heard of them. They're not that.
some other kind of fascist nonsense.
Yeah, Die Republikaner was my number 2.
No idea. Die Basis? No, we
And-
talked about those.
And
You're pals with them. You went to their meetings.
yeah, no, I wasn't. Where's my debases? Actually, that's a good point. Debases are right in the middle. I'm at 52% agreement with the debases.
I think that's because the thing with Querdenker is like they're just throwing everything at the wall, and occasionally some of it's going to stick.
Yeah,
Because they're just like mad. And it's just a group of people, from what I can tell, because it is the Querdenker party, really, isn't it? That pure Querdenker.
Yeah.
Corona has brought us together because we are just the cross section of society who do not want to be told what to do. And it touches a nerve. And I think that is a very human response. Like, we all have these core things like, I'm not lovable, or I'm not good enough, or the world is scary. And there's also this, like, don't tell me what to do as well.
Yeah.
Runs really strong with some people.
I mean,
And the Querdenkers have come together
And
they've all just gone, right, our core value is I don't want to be told what to do. So there's a lot of different varied people in there, I would
So they
imagine.
basically disagree with everything that they see in the news.
Yeah.
They just like,
because
no,
it's
I don't
like,
want that.
No.
But I'll tell you what I like about Die Basis, seeing as we're talking about them, is because they're kind of radical Democrats. They kind of like they want to democratize the entire system. So
Yeah,
that
so no one can tell them what to do.
so that every political decision is made by like an assembly of citizens at every level.
They think that's what they want, but ultimately they'll
But they also
still
have a
just
lot
have
of-
to agree and compromise.
No,
So they won't
but-
want that either. But no, it is nice. And I've often said what we need in Germany is to slow down the political process of decision making.
Anyway,
I'm sure President Zelensky would agree. Just slow it. It's too fast, too reckless.
my number 2 was Die Republikaner, which is
Number 2 from bottom, by
Number
the
2
way.
from bottom, which is
Conrad's
like-
not ousting himself as a
like a-
fucking fascist.
they are kind of fascist. And then the number 3 from bottom was Die Freie Wähler.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't even know that they existed in Berlin.
I know this
but-
because a student chose it for the same project when we did the last elections. We've managed to do this 2 years apart as opposed to the normal
Yeah.
4 years apart, this project. From what I understand, quite conservative.
They're defined as centre
like Die
right.
Basis,
Yeah.
possibly, but with better cars, red trousers, and I think a lot of them live in Bayern.
Yeah, they have. In
That
fact,
is-
they're part
that-
of the government in Bayern.
Yes.
In the
Yes.
the minor part
Yeah,
of the
like
coalition.
don't tell me what to
CSU.
do, but they're going to tell it to you in a sort of
Yeah.
potentially charming Bayerish way, which is essentially a fuck you, I don't care, I'm going to do whatever I want for myself, thank you very much. I get to
I have to say, actually, I've just been looking at my results. I'm at the NPD, which is the old school neo-Nazi party, are only 6th from bottom from me compared to.
I thought you were about to say 6th from top. I was like, fuck.
No, it's just like the FDP and the CDU are both further. I disagree
Further
more.
down.
Further down. Both the FDP and the CDU.
I thought the NPD was illegal.
Well, they were trying to make them illegal, but they never got around to it. They couldn't really get it done. But I think that might be because the NPD are quite
we
socialist.
talked about this, didn't we?
I think they're kind of old-fashioned socialists as well.
I mean,
And
again,
as well as
there's
being
always going to
Nazis.
be something that will chime with this. But it doesn't,
Anyway.
that doesn't necessarily surprise me. But I also don't think you're going to be voting for the NPD anytime soon.
No.
Well, I'm excited to do the Wahl-O-Mat. I think we'll
So anyway,
see. And then I'm
I think
going to
it's
go
a
on
good
Sunday.
It's a good insight into for people who listen to this podcast. They know what they're dealing with now. They
A little bit fascist.
Well, I was thinking more of like basically like a Linke voter who really should be voting for the Klimaliste. But
I think if anyone's listened to more than 45 seconds of this podcast and knows something about German political parties, they're like, that's definitely the vibes we're giving off.
okay, good. Well, then that's all right then. I thought I maintained a journalistic, neutrality all the way through this. I mean, I don't.
I mean,
not.
more than me, but I just scream that the CDU are cunts about every episode. So, like,
Well, anyway,
I think relatively
I do
speaking,
my best, but I guess the mask slips every now and then.
I thought you literally started this podcast because you had to be neutral in your job.
Oh,
You didn't-
maybe, yeah.
You got in trouble for not for tweeting.
Oh, I tweeted that I said something funny about the AfD leader, and I got a.
Oh, that he was a Nazi. That's not funny. That's just stating facts.
I got because there was this. Oh, it doesn't matter. I don't want to get into it. But I got told off at work
Yeah, don't worry
because of a
about your...
tweet, and since then I've taken my employer's name off my bio, so that can't happen anymore.
I think you
Right.
do a good job of asking more questions and being a little bit more neutral in terms of... I think people mistake neutrality and objectivity with like having to give equal value to extreme positions. I think it's more to do with just let's look at the facts.
Yeah.
Whereas I come in with my opinions and I'm just delighted if the facts kind of back them up. But sometimes I do change them, but it's going to take a while, and certainly not when I'm like 3/4 of a mega deep.
Do you want to hear some facts?
Always. bonus points if they're not about politics or the state of the world.
So one of the things I did this week was I talked to Stefan Bröchler, who is our new election director.
It's been a long week, and we are fairly into these megas.
The reason why I got confused then because the English translation of his job is returning officer. And do you know what? I mean the person who organises the election.
Yeah, it must be something to do with the returns, the votes. Once they're cast, then they're called returns or something, and then that's your job.
Let's just call him the election director.
Right.
Because that is clearer for most people. And we have a new one because the last one resigned after the botchings.
The botchings, you're really...
I just like that word, but I've made it up. Of the election fiasco of September 2021. And he is a professor of political administration who spent 9 months on the commission to write a report about what exactly went wrong. And at the end of the 9 months, and they presented their report, and they had all the list of all the things that went wrong and why it went wrong and everything. And then they said, "Can you run the election
Stefan,
now?"
Mate, can you? I can totally imagine how that happens.
Yeah.
Where they're listening to this, going,
"So I'm not."
We're really. And he's just outlined how much of a fucking poisoned chalice this is, and then he's just like, "Stefan, mate, we're gonna really need to. You're gonna need to." Please, you're the man to save the democracy of Berlin. And he's like,
as long as we do, they probably didn't want to read the report, It's probably it's really long.
Yeah.
But anyway, they got him to do it.
Well, good for him.
And it's ehrenamtlich. It's he doesn't get paid for it.
He doesn't get paid for this.
No, he's still a professor at the university, but he's doing this now.
Was the last person paid?
No, it's always been ehrenamtlich.
Why?
Because I guess I don't know. It has to be neutral or something, but they have to. Anyway, he's doing it as a citizen, as his duty as a citizen.
No wonder you keep fucking it up. If you're not paying me to do something, I am not gonna pay that much attention to detail. That's fantastic that people do this on an honorary. I don't think people know that enough because I'm sure people are like moaning and bitching and complaining about the last one.
Yeah, and this is
kind
of
it's fine. We all make mistakes.
And it's kind of a high pressure job, especially now.
You're fucking right.
Because the last one went so badly. So I was talking to him and I said, so what are you doing now to make sure this election is going to run well? And do you want to know what he said?
I do.
He said, well, it sounds banal, but one of my first jobs was to make sure we had enough paper so that we could print the ballots. He said we've increased the number of voting booths per station.
Yep.
The minimum number at the last election, September 2021, was 2, and now the minimum number is 3. And they and they're making sure that they have spares so they can set up if there's like a big queue that they can set up more. They've increased the number of the average voting time per voter. The last election, they calculated 3 minutes per voter, which is not very much because you got 6 ballot papers at the last election.
Yeah,
for
and
various
if you're
reasons.
anything, I mean, a lot of people are not going to have done the Wahl-O-Mat, and also, like, to be honest, there's so many parties. It's such a long list. Not everyone is the quickest reader.
You
which
get
is
a massive
fine.
long. You get a bit of paper like
And
this.
honestly, you get in there. What are you going to do? You're going to get your phone out. People might be doing the Wahl-O-Mat in there.
Yeah.
Like, they might be like, oh, fuck. I didn't think there was going to be this many up. Fuck.
Yeah.
And I know it's fucking Germany, so 1 in 4 has got fascist tendencies. Minimum. I gotta get my phone out. They're in there. I know, and then WhatsApp comes in, you're distracted. Oh, I'm in a voting booth.
Yeah.
This
And
is
then
good, so
you
they've
tweet
calculated more time.
And you're not supposed to tweet your ballot paper,
No.
by the way. That's really wrong.
Someone got in trouble for that, didn't they? Like an actual politician.
Yeah, yeah.
Who was it?
I can't remember. Anyway, someone always does something. Also, the number of volunteers has gone up in per ballot station. Instead of 7 to 9, now it'll be 14, up to 14, to organise everyone, register everyone, tick them off the list, all that kind of stuff. And they will be paid more. So at the last election, and in general, election volunteers get paid €60 a day, and now they're going to be paid €240 for a day. It's quite a lot of money.
Right. See this Stefan. let's see how it goes on Sunday. But I am really liking his work, because what I like is that he's not trying to do some kind of bullshit marketing nonsense where he says like, well, we're going to increase agility and whatever. He's just like, we've done the thing that most people need to do things. We've given more time and more money. And that sounds banal, but that is what we need.
So,
and I salute you, Stefan. And I look forward to maybe having less of a wait in my voting locale on Sunday.
And the other thing that he did, which raised a few eyebrows.
Oh no! Are you going to say something bad now that I've really talked him up? He's also decided that...
That's actually a good thing. He invited the OSCE. Do you know about the OSCE?
Obviously not.
He's invited international election observers to come. They came in January.
He's the ones who have to like go to the Donbass and are like, no, obviously not.
Yeah,
no, is it a joke? Yeah, just reporting back. It's a fucking joke. Cool. Come on back home, lads.
Yeah, that's the Organisation for Security and Cooperation in Europe.
Nice.
They do, amongst other things, they do election observations. They did them in Georgia and different places, and a country can invite people, and so it was his idea, and he got them to come, and they came in mid-January and interviewed him and talked to various MPs.
I love this man.
And talked to various...
He's doing all my favourite things as not quite a public servant because I work in a private school, but...
And the idea was to, he saw it as his job to restore trust in the democratic institution of the election. He felt like it would be run so badly, so he wanted to make sure everything was on the table and everyone knew what everyone was thinking. And so, he invited the OSCE to come and said, also they wrote a little report which came out a couple of weeks ago in which they said that we think it's going very well and we're not going to send observers to election day because they thought
Stefan is class.
And he also invited some so just before we stop, sort of deifying Stefan Brechler.
Oh no!
So what has not happened is that there's another referendum which was supposed to happen on Sunday, which is not going to happen.
Okay. This is possibly why I am cross with Stefan.
Well, it's not really his fault, but it's partly he could have. I mean, I don't know if you could say it's his fault, but the point is there's a referendum which has to take place soon for Berlin's climate targets. Yes. And bringing them forward to 2030, so making Berlin climate neutral by 2030, which is now going to go to a referendum. And
well done to everyone who collected signatures.
Yeah, and the referendum is now going to be in March and not on Sunday, because apparently, according to an NGO called Mehr Demokratie, which I spoke to, they brought this up and they said, why can't this election? Because the thing is, officials always try and make referendums on the same day as election day because it boosts turnout, because everyone comes.
Of course, you're already in the wee booth on your phone looking shit up. You might as well look up what the fuck that is, give your opinion on it.
Yeah. So, and they were told, this NGO, Mehr Demokratie, that that couldn't happen because the printing deadline was too close. They couldn't organise it in time. And a lot of people said, maybe the government had a hand in this, because the government obviously does not want to implement this policy of bringing the climate, because they're all centrists and they think they want to keep the current economic political system in place, which is driving us to our deaths. But anyway,
maybe it'll be fine. Maybe the science is wrong, or maybe I just don't understand it.
But anyway. They were some people said they had a hand in it, but according to
I think with those it's more like they think it's a political, with everything, we've had to politicize and culture war the fuck out of the idea that the planet is.
So it's going to be so that has obviously reduced the chances that referendum will be successful. It's going to be difficult. I mean, they said it was because the printing deadlines were too tight and they wouldn't be able. And I think it's also because the Stefan Bröchler was worried that he didn't want to take as few chances as possible, and they wanted to make it as easy as possible for all the voting booths. So one less ballot paper to put on the thing
mission.
So I think that that is why that happened, but it would have been much better. And there's actually no reason organisationally why you can't have a referendum on the same day as that should be possible. It happens all the time.
But they looked at Deutsche Wohnen, Co. and Eignen, and they were like, well, fucking loads of people voted for that.
Yeah.
Klimaliste, the Klima 2030 is even less contentious. Like, everyone is kind of like, that sounds cool. Yeah. This is...
So because you have to get a minimum turnout for.
And what is that? Do we know?
Yeah, I do know, but I've forgotten. I'm not telling you.
Temporarily lost that information.
No, I'll Google it. Hang on,
I'll
Google
us.
it. I do. There is a rule. It has to. I don't know. It's like 50% of the electorate. It depends on. It doesn't depend on the turnout, but the number of yes votes has to be a certain percentage of the total electorate.
Ah, I see. Okay.
If you see what I mean. So, okay. And that is it. That is all.
All right.
That is all the organisational stuff about the new election which is happening.
Let me refer to my list of topics that we wanted to talk about. Oh, God. Do we want to start into German migration policy now? Or... do we want to leave that for another day?
Let's leave it for another day.
I concur. I have just finished my megacan, and there's no way, because I have a vague idea what you're going to tell me. I absolutely do not want to hear it.
No, and
certainly don't want to hear it without any booze.
It's quite complicated as well.
Oh. Is that like when you had to explain the overhang in the Bundestag?
Oh, don't we? Well, we can talk about that as well soon, because they're going to do a reform of the Bundestag.
What?
They're going to might get rid of all that.
They're just like, we cannot keep putting in more MPs. Someone has gone to them, the head of the building people, the Hausmeister in the Bundestag has gone in and just been like, no. There is no more cupboards, closets, weird stairwell things that I can make into an office while you merrily vote in 709 billion MPs every time with an overhang of 74. Can't be done.
Yeah.
We're full. Yeah. Take it elsewhere. That's what I imagine is happening.
I still haven't got around to fixing that lamp. And
exactly.
And you want another 100 MPs.
Exactly. No, can't do it.
The lights in the stairwell are broken.
Yeah.
Keep getting phone calls. Really annoying.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Everyone's emailing me with things that are not my job. I'm exhausted. Fuck off. You need to reform this nonsense.
Yeah. We'll save Bundestag reform and migration policy for a rainy day.
I might bring 2 megacans for that. I am... fucking hell. Okay. Well, thank you very much for the news, Konrad. It's awful, but I'd always rather get it from you.
Thank you. It's very cathartic for me, this, every week. I can get it out,
Good. It's horrible for me, because I just then... I come in here innocent like a lamb. I don't know what's going on. And I'm like, boop, 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 boop. Oh, no.
It's the weekend.
Anyway, please, everybody, stay safe.
Yes.
And... hold your loved ones close. That's what I will say, I think.
And if you're in Berlin and you are allowed to, go and vote on Sunday. Yeah,
obviously, definitely vote. Unless you're a weirdo. In which case, why are you listening? Not a weirdo. Everyone's weird's fine, but like a fascist or something. Don't do that. Go and get a lot of therapy tomorrow and then go in and vote for somebody else.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye, everyone.